Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Solomon's Temple. Thank you for being here. Some of you are regulars and some of you are not regulars. Well, if you're wondering what Solomon's Temple is all about, this is just all about trying to excavate truth. You know, we might not be custodians of truth, but there's one who holds the truth. That is our Lord God himself. And that's what we do here. So we get to look at church issues and the issues around, different issues around our faith. That's what we do. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me and just being here. I'm going to be talking about something very important. Anyway, let me see who's here. Yeah, I see quite a few people. They got someone in Uganda. Earlier on, I got Mark saying we're waiting. So good evening to you, Mark. Good evening, Alex. Good evening to you, Charles. Thank you guys for joining. Divine saying hello, Solomon. Thank you. K2 saying the caption is already paining me. Yeah, it's painful indeed. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. From Pumalanga, got Dr. Natasha Opoku. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Whilst I'm waiting for my guest to log in. She's been struggling actually to log in. She's been struggling to log in for some time now. So I just do hope that she logs in. And if she doesn't, then we have to find a way around it, or maybe do a part 1 and then do a part 2. I will see what I can do with the part 1, because she's been struggling in the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes actually, just to log in. There's a really bad telephone network around her area. So I'm just hoping that she's going to be able to log in. If she's not able to log in, then what I would do is, she had actually, a few days ago, she had actually sent me her story. So she sent me her story because normally I get a written version of a story. I normally don't want to hear it over telephone. I want you to write it, just so we make sure this is what you are saying. I'm not saying it. It's your story. So she sent me a story. So I may as well read her story in case she doesn't get in. And then we are going to be, and then I'm going to call the alleged perpetrator, the man, the prophet who violated her, who defiled her. I'm going to now call him. I have his phone number. So I'm just saying, in case she doesn't come in, I'll read it and then now call him and disclose some of this information to him. Let him give us his side of the story, because that's what we do in Solomon's Temple. It's not about just one side of the story, except that one side do not want to give their side of the story, which of course we come across a lot of that, right? But fact of the matter is, some people want to give their side of the story. So I'm going to call this so-called prophet to give his side of the story. So I'm not going to disclose his identity now, because he might be watching, or people that are familiar with him might be watching. I may just give him a heads up. So when I call him, he wouldn't pick up the phone. So I want to avoid that. But the best case scenario is for my guest, who is the alleged victim, to really get through the network issues that she's having over there in Bloemfontein, where she is here in South Africa, so she can really give us her side of the story. But if we are not able to get her side of the story today, I'm going to read you her story in brief, what she sent me, and then try to call the prophet and say, look, here is this side of the story. What is your side of the story? And then we see how it goes. And if she's not able to join us today, then I'll have to bring her on maybe again tomorrow to do a part 2, just so we hear from her, because what she wrote and I have with me is just a brief. So it's always important to hear from the alleged victim, there's a lot of information that they're going to put on, and also there is going to give me an opportunity to ask them, to probe them, to ask them questions and to probe them, because that's very important. Now, we know that in the last few years there's been quite a lot of a rise in violation and of women, and defiling women in so many different ways, and we see quite a lot of that over and over again, and that is very sad. And we see different sort of, like, I wouldn't want to use, sometimes we see rape issues, abuse issues. We see that over and over again, so we see that kind of violation where the men of God, pastors, prophets, apostles, they allow their lust for of the flesh. They allow immorality to take over them. And once you are a man of God, so-called man of God, and you are become immoral, sexually immoral, then obviously the pulpit is actually one of the best places where you can make many women your victims, because it's going to be much easier to in the church, because we all believe we're there trying to look for God. And a lot of people come to these kind of churches just to really seek for God, because they're broken, because they have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we end up seeing this abuse. We end up seeing, like, men of God being, perpetrators, abusing women here and there, and a whole lot of things. So let me just quickly actually read you her story, because she's been struggling to, she's just sent me a message now. The network is showing me flames. That's what she just sent now. The network is showing me flames, and she gave me an emoji of her crying. So what I'm going to do is, let me just start with the second option, which is to read her story, right? And then I will call this pastor who is alleged to have violated her, right? In the name of trying to groom her and train her. He was given this young girl in custody. I'm talking about a very young girl here. She was given the custody of, it was more like an adoption, so he can groom her. And then and then if she still cannot come in, then I would have to bring her back to get to hear her side of the story. All right. So this is not going to be long. Things is going to be shorter, because if she cannot make it into the studio due to the network problem, then we're going to make it short, the shorter version, and I'm going to get her here just so we can do a longer version. So let me see her story. Yeah. So this is her story here, based on what she had sent me. She said, he came to my house. So she obviously goes to this church where the pastor is, the prophet is, overseer of that church. She said, he came to my house and told my mother that he has to adopt me in order for him to nurture my spiritual gift. Then my mom agreed. So he was the one that went there, saying, look, she has a spiritual gift, and if you allow me to take her, and she spend much time closer with me, then we can nurture that gift that God has given her. You see, if she was here, I would ask her, what sort of gift is that? Is that prophetic? Is that what sort of gift? That's why it's important for her to be here. But I'm just giving you a little synopsis of the version that she sent me. So she said, then my mom agreed. I went to stay with him and started to submit under him. It all started in December last year, when he made a party. He had a party at his house on the 16th of December. The alcohol there was much. We all drank, and later on then he came to me and told me that he had always loved me, yet he was married and he had always had deep feelings for me, and then he kissed me. So he went to her mother. Let me groom your daughter. She has a gift, spiritual gift. Let me nurture those gifts. But I need to adopt her so she can come stay with me. Just that's December, so it's not long ago. December, she moved to his place. He has a wife and kids, right? So he wasn't like a single person. And for her, young girl, being naive, and the mother trusting, and that's what a lot of these people do. They target homes where there is no father. You must listen to a lot of these stories of women that have been violated and defiled by this man of God. They target homes where there is no father figure. Single mother raising the kids. Single parent. Because they know that there's no man there. So worst case scenario, the woman is just going to kind of like cover things, or there's just kind of like come make some noise and then nothing would happen. So they're not afraid when it comes to targeting girls that are from this kind of homes. I think I've seen dozens and dozens of them. You ask them, who do you stay with? My mother. My mother. Where's your father? I don't know my father. Where's your father? The last time I saw him was 10 years ago. Where's your father? My father don't want me. And that's always been the situation. So on the 16th of December, he had a party. He's a prophet. And then alcohol was just flowing, right? Like alcohol was just flowing. Nandi is asking who's the prophet here. If you listen to my conversation in the beginning, I said I'm not going to disclose who the prophet is because I intend to call the prophet. I have his number. I intend to call him so he can answer. So he can answer some of these allegations. Right? I intend to call him. So I'm not going to disclose his name before one of his friends who's watching or somebody who's watching from his church is going to give him a heads up, and he's not going to pick my call. So I want to avoid that. If he doesn't pick my call, fine, but I just want to avoid that. So he said the alcohol was there, so we all drank. And later on, he then came to me and told me that he had always loved me. Yet he was married and he had always had deep feelings for me, and then he kissed me. So I don't know if it was the alcohol that was working on him, for a man of God to forget that he's a man of God, for a man who claims to be a prophet, forget that he's a prophet. And then because of the alcohol consumption, you see why alcohol consumption sometimes, it brings the fool out of you. It makes you look totally whatever. But maybe he's used to it. Obviously, he had a party and there was alcohol, so he's used to alcohol flowing. I'm not against people drinking alcohol. I do not drink alcohol. I retired from alcohol about 20 years ago. I do not drink alcohol, and I do not intend to drink alcohol anytime soon. And I don't see anything wrong with drinking alcohol. But for me, as long as you control it, imagine you as a prophet, you drink alcohol now, and then you began to tell a little girl that you love her, and then you kissed her, and you are a married man. Is that the alcohol working, or was it him actually now coming out to share what he has been planning all this while? Because you went to this girl's home and you asked her mother that, look, your daughter has spiritual gifts. Let me adopt her spiritually and nurture those gifts. And obviously, that's what a lot of mothers want to hear for their young girls. Not their young girls going to clubs and dancing, or young girls just hanging around with boys or whatever. But they're in the house of the Lord, and it's a single mother. Maybe they're actually poor. Maybe she's struggling to send her to school or struggling to feed her or clothe, those kind of situations. They target these charlatans and fake prophets. They target these kind of homes. They target these kind of girls, because they know they're not going to get any sort of resistance, or their life is not going to be threatened, because there's no father figure in the house. There's no man in the house. So they do their homework. They do their due diligence. They research. So now he said no, he loves her, and now he started kissing her. Then that was that day. Then she said, one day after an all-night prayer, he told us to go to his house. And we went. When we were there, he called me into his bedroom. Then that's when he tried to sleep with me. I denied and wanted to go out. He then grabbed my hand and told me that I don't want to disappoint him because I know very well that God wouldn't like that. And I know how he feels about me. That's when I gave in. So obviously, he had wanted to, after night vigil, go to my house, and he called her into the room, and he had wanted to make his move on her, and she said no. So obviously, this wasn't consensual, right? I want us to pick some of these things up. This wasn't consensual. Because we would say, well, you went to a room. You know the way some people thinking, especially men. Well, you went to his room, so that means you want it. Well, what do you mean that means I want it? Because a woman steps into your room doesn't mean she wants it. She wants it is when she will tell you, can we have this? Can we sleep together? Because if you do anything other than that, that is criminal. If she doesn't want it, you do that, that becomes a criminal issue. So she said he now forced her, and he now used, can you check this out? And that's the way a lot of these fake men of God and charlatans, that's the way they flow. Check what he said. In her words, this is what he told her. He said, I denied and wanted to go out. He then grabbed my hand and told me, listen, he told me that I don't want to disappoint him because I know very well that God wouldn't like that. That I know how he feels about me. That's when I gave him. You see the manipulation? How can you tell somebody that you want to sleep with, that they shouldn't deny you that because God, it shouldn't disappoint you because God wouldn't like that. You are a married man, a man, so-called man of God, prophet. You were telling her you wanted to sleep with her. She said no. And now you were telling her she shouldn't disappoint you because God wouldn't like that. You see how they bring God into the picture as an element of manipulation. Because for a lot of people, once you bring God, once you serenade a lie with God, it's sort of like take down their defenses. And remember, some of these women, they're also not spiritually strong. They would think they're actually disobeying God. But no, you're not just disobeying man, you're not just disobeying man, you're disobeying a criminal here. Because he's a criminal. How dare him do that? He's a biblical criminal. He's a legal criminal. Biblically, he's a married man. He says he's a prophet, but he's doing this. Legally, he forced you and manipulated you into doing this. And then she said she gave in. So obviously, he had his way and he slept with her. I wouldn't want to say they slept together, because sleeping together means there was cooperation between the two people. Sleeping with her means he forced himself. He manipulated himself. I just have to share this. This is important. Fumilani Maringa is saying, a prophet also did that to me. You see, exactly what I was sharing now. That's their modus operandi. That's how they roll. That's how they roll. So she said, she gave in, and then they slept together. And then watch this, what happened. So she said, I gave in. Then she said she feels like after that, she feels like he had raped her, because she said, because I didn't want to sleep with him. But he kept on telling me that I don't want to disappoint him. He planted fear inside of me. You see the way they use God to plant fear inside of you. He even removed the condom without my consent. That's a criminal offense right there, to remove a condom without her consent. He said he even removed the condom without my consent. So now he's going around bad-mouthing me because after I tried to commit suicide, with the mentality of that, no one would believe me. I stopped what was happening between us because he wanted to make me his side woman. Now he is bad-mouthing me everywhere. So I feel like I need to expose him or do something. So she was actually pushed to the brink of suicide, to take her life, because he was going around bad-mouthing her, because she felt like he violated her, he defiled her. We are men and we would not understand some of these things sometimes because we're not women. What it feels like somebody to forcefully or manipulatively defile you and sleep with you. It's uncalled for anyone that is, especially a man of the cloth, a clergy, a man of God, to do that. You can imagine if this young woman has succeeded in taking her own life. How would her family feel about it? What would she even get there and tell God? And that's how we destroy young lives. That's how we destroy young lives. He wanted to make her his side chick. Yeah, I wonder how many side chicks he has. Because people like that, they have so many side chicks. It's a lifestyle. So let me try to call this so-called prophet. He's in Bloemfontein, 3 hours from Johannesburg in South Africa. For those of you guys who are overseas, just to try to give you some sort of geography that you can understand what we're looking at. Let me try to call him. And I hope that he's going to answer. I'll call him first. And then I would then introduce I will show his pictures, his photos. His phone is ringing. I hope you can hear that. Okay. Maybe he got a tip. Maybe he got a tip. Let me try this other way here.
Available at present. Please try again later. The subscriber you have dialed is not available at present. Please try again later. The subscriber you have dialed is not available at present. Please try again later.
Okay, first I called him on WhatsApp. That was what was ringing, but no one was picking it up. And then now I just called him straight on the phone, and it's saying the subscriber you've dialed is not available at present. Please try again later. So I'm not sure if somebody gave him a tip off, or he's not really available. Let's try again. Somebody's saying that I'm surprised that you expect him to pick the call. I think what I'm gonna be doing in future is actually I'm not even gonna tell you guys that I'm gonna call the person. I'm just going to even call them without your knowledge. Because one thing I've noticed is a lot of people sort of like watch this program and then they now they now get a tip off, or they know that the gal was talking to me anyway. Maybe they have an idea that the gal was talking to me. This is what what's her name? Becky is saying maybe he's at the prophetic service. Yes, maybe he's at really as prophetic service. But let me introduce you to the pastor. Let me use one of his banner, and they actually have an event at Becky. It's called Prophetic Encounter. Let me introduce you to the man. He runs a ministry called House of Revelations. Here is one of his flyers. It's called Saturday's Prophetic Encounter, every Saturday at 12 noon. His name is, you can see his name there. His name is Prophet Obadiah Kitsani, right? So have a good look at him. Some of you guys know him. Some of you guys don't know him. But I'm just going to do something. All right. So anybody that knows him, this is him. His name is Prophet Obadiah Kitsani, right? Let me take you through his, this is his Facebook page. You can see it there, Prophet Obadiah. If you look at where he works, he said he's a laboratory manager at the University of the Free State and also works with the South African Police Service. So I'm not sure if he currently works there or if he's still working with these guys, or he is what do you call it? Or he's a full-time whatever pastor. And then he studied at the Central University of Technology in the Free State, and he lives in Bloemfontein, South Africa. So this is the guy that we're talking about here. These are some of his presence here. This is him preaching and teaching. I was actually gonna play one of his videos that he was prophesying, just so you can have a feel of who he is. So maybe next time when I come in, because I need to speak to the victim. I'm gonna make sure we arrange with the victim when we can talk. Maybe because it's night, that's why the network is not really good. And that is him here. So anybody that knows this person, this so-called prophet, tell him that I've got a few questions for him. And I'm not going to reveal the name of the victim. And if you notice, I have not released the name of the victim. But he probably, obviously, would know the victim, because he was the one, according to her, that did these things to her. So if everything that happened is true, obviously he's going to pick up just one time who actually brought this issue to me, right? And she's just been trying she has a huge network problem, which is really disappointing, because I really wanted us to hear from her. But he's been avoiding my call, and I don't know why. But Could I have some WhatsApp call? I mean, one last time on the phone.
The subscriber you have dialed is not available at present. Please try again later. The subscriber you have dialed is not available at present. Please try again later. The subscriber you have dialed.
Okay. So here they're saying the subscriber is not available at present, you know, so I should try again later. So I think we're going to leave it here, unfortunately, because the victim is not here, but I've shared her story, what actually happened, a brief synopsis of her story. She has a longer version, blow by blow on the detail. I think Nandi here is saying that the network between Free State and Gauteng can be challenging, indeed. Yeah. So you guys, I know sometimes it could be challenging. So I'm gonna follow up on that, and I'm gonna come back and report to you. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe if it's better to do it during the day, maybe we could do it during the day. Maybe the network is gonna be less busy. And that's what we're gonna try to do. And I have to, before I go, I have to let you know that Mendy is saying spiritual daughter. What is that? Yeah, that's what he, obviously, that's what he said. Adopted her, so she was his spiritual daughter, to try to help her to nurture her gift. So obviously, there is I haven't finished with the issue of Mike Davids and Johnson Suleiman. Something happened. All I can tell you for now is money was paid. 60,000 US dollars was paid. So Mike Davids, who accused Suleiman of sleeping with his wife, can come out and make an apology. I'm not just telling you because I heard about it. No. I have recorded evidence. Recorded evidence of that. I have a recorded evidence of a confession that money was paid. So I'm just bidding my time to see when is a good time to bring this out. Mike David said he was gonna come out and tell people what actually happened, because he said he was kidnapped. So I'm giving him time to come out and tell people what happened. And if he doesn't, I'm going to tell people. And I'm going to play the recorded evidence that I have out here for everybody to know. Because we cannot be made fools. We are people who stand for the truth. You came out to say this is what Johnson Suleiman had done to your wife. He took your wife away and everything. And we supported you. We put pressure. On social media, we put pressure. And then now you're running away from the truth. Now you're sending people to me to speak to me about different issues. But I'm not even going to say anything. All I'm going to do is to play the recorded evidence that I have. So I'm not talking about me trying to explain, this person was paid 60,000 US dollars here. No, I'll play for you to hear from a conversation. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm just trying to say, okay, Lord, when should I do this? Because everyone deserves to know the truth. If you brought your stuff out publicly and we supported you as Christians, put pressure on social media, you're not just going to withdraw and you want to deal with things privately. It doesn't work that way at all. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. So let me not start another conversation. Actually, I'm not going to tell you anything more. People are asking questions now. But I'm not going to say anything more about this issue. The day that I come here to talk about the issue, to talk about 60,000 US dollars paid, I wouldn't need to convince you that 60,000 US dollars was paid. I will just play you the audio so you listen to it and you decide. I'm going to play you the recording. You decide. It's as simple as that. Because we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know the truth. And God has his own way of bringing the truth out. People come to me with all sort of evidences and all that. Sometimes I gather evidences myself. And I'm going to play it here. It's like a 15 minutes recording. You're going to listen to it. What happened? So let me not even talk so more about that, and just thank you so much. Sorry we couldn't get the victim on board. Should we try that? Should we try that guy one last time? Okay, let's try one last time.
The subscriber.
Uh-oh. Subscriber is not there. Okay, let's try this one last time. Okay, no worries. All right. Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate every one of you. And yeah, we're going to talk about it again. I'm going to be back again tomorrow. So please stay tuned. Just watch out for any of the broadcasts that's going to be coming in. Thank you so much. All you guys from the US, all you guys from Uganda, all you guys from the UK, South Africa, Botswana. God bless you. Somebody, Brian, is saying, Uncle Solomon, any update with your case against Alf Lukau? No update yet. There's no update on my case with Alf Lukau. Like I told you last time, we have finished the first part of the court's hearing and all that. So we're waiting for a judgment now. So it's about 3 weeks now. With COVID, and lockdown and all that, a few things are a bit slow everywhere. I guess that's what's been affecting it. So we're waiting for the judgment. The judgment is always is only gonna be Solomon. I found Solomon not guilty of defaming anybody, so no contempt of court. Okay, I found Solomon guilty of defaming him based on this, and his contempt of court. Okay, go to prison. So that's what it is. And to be honest with you, I'm ready for both. Mentally, I'm ready to not go to prison. And mentally, I'm also ready to go to prison. I prepared my mind already. Because you see, I'm a realist. And because I go to prison, doesn't mean that it's a punishment from God or I'm wrong. No. It doesn't work that way. I know charismatics and Pentecostals they see suffering as, they don't want persecution. They see suffering as not a blessing from God. No, we have to suffer for this gospel. And if this is the way to suffer, so be it. And I don't have the money to keep going to court over and over, because at the end of the day, if they say I'm guilty, then I would have to pay his legal cost. So now I need to raise money, and that's going to be another money. So if I want to appeal still, then I also need money. And right now I even need money to be able to pay some of my bills that is there already. So, but I'm going to give you a brief, just keep praying and it's going to come together soon. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you, and have a wonderful time with your family.